This is Rhonda Brooks of Farm Journal Media, and I'm here with Missy Bauer, Associate Field Agronomist, and we're near Coldwater, Michigan today. And Missy, soybean harvest is just getting underway up here. And what are you wanting to tell us today about harvesting soybeans?
Well, some of the things that we're seeing as we're just getting going with the harvest is due to the drought conditions we have a lot of very short beans this year in comparison to what maybe we'd normally have. And some of the things we got to be careful about is harvest loss when we're dealing with these short beans. It's hard to get these beans kind of raked in to the grain head well, and a lot of them are potted quite low. So if you look here, these are potted only just a couple inches above from where the soil line was here. So taking your time, slow the combine down a little bit, and make sure you're getting out and doing some checking for loss out in the field. Out in the field, if you throw a square foot out, so you lay a square foot out and see how many seeds you have in that square foot. Every 4 seeds is equal to 1 bushel loss. So make sure you're doing some checks. Try to determine, is it stuff that's happening at the header or something that's coming out of the back of the combine. As a general rule of thumb, in soybeans, about 80% of the loss that we have is typically happens at the head. So really focus there, pay attention. Is there things you can adjust on the speed of your reel and even your ground speed? Maybe you're using things like an air reel to help keep the beans flowing in, or a draper type head.
So I see 4 or 5 beans laying out there. You know, how do I know what adjustment I need to make?
Well, it's going to depend obviously on the machine, but you're going to want to focus a little bit more actually on the head itself in making some adjustments there, as well as your ground speed. I think people kind of forget that side of it. One thing to keep in mind, I guess, on some of this is making sure you know if it's happening at the head versus behind, and what's an acceptable loss would be, in general rules of thumb, about 3%. So if you're seeing about 3% loss, that's probably about as good as you're going to get the combine dialed in. But if you're seeing 4, 5, 6% loss, then that's going to be too much.
And as far as ground speed, what do you like to run at?
Well, it's obviously going to depend on the machine, is a rotor combine or not. So, I mean, that's going to be really broad. What I would say is whatever your ground speed typically is, you may want to think about just slowing up a little bit this year, maybe another half a mile an hour slower.
All right. Thanks, Missy.